Sup everyone, I'm your female otaku, and I'm here to present to you something that I've been working on for a solid 4 months now, showcasing the anime of the 2000 teens. But of course, I could not do this alone. Recapping year after year, a whole decade's worth of anime, there's no way this could be done single-handedly. So I asked several other YouTubers to collab with me, and they did. So join us as we recap not just the anime, but some of the major things that have happened in the anime community, whether it be streaming, dubbing, or movies. Yeah, a lot's happened. But let's take it step by step, starting with 2010.
The year is 2010. Japan stunned and shocked the world with a new creation. Something never seen before by man. Something that will grip the youth of this earth with a fervor never seen before. This particular phenomenon is known as anime. Yes, contrary to popular belief, the Japanese colloquialism known as anime didn't exist prior to 2010. Cowboy Bebop? Straight to home video release. Never actually aired on television. Evangelion? That's my favorite Netflix original series. I'm just kidding. It's 2010, the big three are still airing. Bones is halfway through Full Metal Alchemist, We're Sorry edition. Hell, Shin-Chan was still going. Times was good. And the next year can only get better. We start off the winter season with Durarara, giving us a kooky supernatural show immersing you in Ikebukuro and its spandex cat helmet mascot. Katana Gatari popped out of Nisio Isin's overly verbose noggin and proceeded to do that whole dialogue thing he's known for, except this time there's more fight scenes and cool stuff. Meanwhile, in theaters, we got Unlimited Blade Works, Studio Dean's version, to be exact. To which most people say, wait, Studio Dean made an adaptation of Unlimited Blade Works? And I say, yes. Yes, they certainly made one. Also notable here is the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, the second best anime Christmas movie ever made. The spring season, alright. Here's where we get to the real meat, potatoes, and eyebrows of it all. K-On! With 2 exclamation points, brought us the second season of our favorite light music club doing light music things. Angle Beats managed to be one of the most well-received and most criticized shows at the time due to the nature of its plot and setting. Working, again with 2 exclamation points, gave us a pleasant slice of life look into the daily lives of restaurant workers. Arakawa Under the Bridge continues to be a show that I'm saving for a rainy day. Not because I know it's good, but because everyone I know won't shut the hell up about it. The Tatami Galaxy Groundhog Day'd its way into our hearts with its unique art style and writing. Stan Lee went to Studio Bones and said, I want to make an anime, and Hero Man was born, then died after about 5 episodes. Bringing us to the summer season, which started off with a bang with High School of the Dead, leading physics professors to say that's not how bullets or titties work, but hey, it looks cool as hell, so whatevs. Shiki surprised us by asking, can a person be a vampire and not be a complete butthole about the whole thing? To which the answer is still a resounding, it's kinda in the subtext of the show, you have to like figure it out for yourself. Kuroshitsuji, or Black Butler, returned to the small screen to the cheers of 1,000 screaming fangirls and further fulfilling the career of legendary voice actor Sea-Dog VA. And Studio Ghibli made a delightful return to the screen for an adaptation of the classic book The Borrowers, titled The Secret World of Arrietty. Finally, bringing us to the fall season as it begins to settle in like the first leaves to fall from the trees. In retrospect, I'm asking myself, was my little sister really that cute? Bakuman is a manga about making a manga that's now an anime based on a manga about making a manga. In the future, it becomes a live-action adaptation of a manga based on making a manga too. A new season of Index comes out, proving once again that Railgun is just the superior version of that show. The world God only knows haremed its way into the annals of ecchi mediocrity when put up to the rest of the massively more popular shows like Beloveru and DxD. Star Driver became one of my favorite cult classics, having one of the most convoluted, ridiculous plots with some of the prettiest art I've seen in a show. Also, it has a mech whose name roughly translates to Galactic Pretty Boy, and that's just hilarious in its own right. Madhouse decided to make an Iron Man anime. That is a real thing. That is a totally real thing that happened. And finally, Gainax brought us Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, a show about a couple angels who use their undergarments and lingerie as weapons to fight evil spirits. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. It had a final episode that left the community fuming, just like any other show, or video noting the anime that came out in 2010. I probably forgot a few here, but hey, these are just the ones I remember most. I'm sorry, and thank you for watching.
What's up everyone, it's your boy Scott here, and today I'm here to talk to you about anime in 2011. In 2011, the decade was still in its infancy. However, anime itself started to get a little bit more mature. And I mean that quite literally, because in 2011, some of the most mind-bending anime to ever surface made its debut. Even though we were still in the thick of two of the Shonen's big three still going strong, 2011 debuted, or should I say rebooted, one of the most intelligent battle anime of all time, and that was Hunter x Hunter. Now I can go on and on about this series for an entire video because the prestige of it alone speaks for itself. What I will say is that you can very much argue that much like how Eva deconstructed the mecha genre, Hunter x Hunter did the same thing for the battle shonen, much like Togashi's original work before it, Yu Yu Hakusho, and how it changed things where you're looking at something along the lines of Dragon Ball Z back when that was king. Although Hunter x Hunter is a product of the 90s that's actually still ongoing manga-wise, it introduced a whole new generation of anime watchers to a new way of how to do battle. Unlike most shonen where usually the winner is decided by who's good or who's bad in some shape, form, or fashion, Hunter x Hunter definitely changed the game because the victor in this series almost always was decided by who had the best brain, who had the better strategy, and sometimes that would mostly always lead to surprising results. You never know which way is up because someone will always have some type of plan, and that made it one of the most intelligent and most captivating battle shonen ever. 2011 also gave us the grand debut of one of the very last long-running anime series in Gintama. Known by some as probably the greatest series ever told, Gintama was able to take a comedy and a parody type of series and mix that in with seriousness, and it meshed so well that you would get captivated if you're willing to get into a 300 plus episode count. And we cannot talk about intelligent anime without mentioning another big debut in 2011 as one that I feel is the most definitive when it comes to intelligence, and that's Steins Gate. Now, time travel is tricky. A lot of people can't get it right, but it was an anime, not a live action TV show, not a Hollywood production, that managed to get time travel done so right and took us onto a roller coaster of feels per se, and it made us want more and more. Just like I was mentioning with Gintama before, you do have to have a little bit of commitment to this because it actually takes Steins Gate about 9 episodes to get the ball rolling, but once it does, you are treated to one of the biggest what the hell moments in anime history, and probably one of the most compelling, and dare I say, one of the most wrapped up endings in anime history. While the series I just mentioned were some of the shining stars of 2011, there's still far more anime out there that came out this year that defined their respective genres, which made 2011 such an important year to begin with. Future Diary introduced us to the undisputed queen of yandere with Yuno, while Madoka Magica not only twisted our minds, but also turned the entire magical girl genre on its head. Tiger and Bunny showed up as the first My Hero Academia, a series that I feel still doesn't get the credit it deserves when it comes to the anime/superhero fusion. Deadman Wonderland kicked the door in with this dark and angsty types of feel that we haven't seen since the early 2000s. And if you want to talk about impact, then look no further in 2011 because it was here that Ufotable made their claim to fame as the king of animation with Fate Zero. This series was introduced and gave us a definitive starting point or a prequel to one of the most complex stories of all time, and one of the most beautifully animated series to ever grace our eyes as anime watchers, and we have this year to thank for that. We were introduced to beauty and feels of Karuta on the sports side of things with Chihaya Furu. Persona 40 Animation came along and introduced an already insanely popular franchise to a new fan base of people in anime. And we also had a very brief and not very good run of Marvel anime with X-Men and Wolverine for some reason. And again, it wasn't good, but it was different. And in closing, I think that's the best way that I can describe 2011. It was a year of intelligence and it was a year of difference, as there were so many series that changed the landscape of respected genres that you'll be hard pressed to find any other year that had as much of an impact as this one did. A grand salute to 2011 for boggling our minds for an entire year. And now on to 2012.
Well, it's the holiday season once more, so you know what that means. God, I've missed you. Ha. So let's begin. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and happy holidays to you and yours. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I hope you're looking forward to an amazing new year. I know I'm looking forward to 2020. Anyway, I am finally back on Sloan the Female Otaku's channel, and I must say, Sloan, I love what you've done with the place. But come on, man, what took you so long to bring me back? I know you've become an amazing, world-famous cosplayer, but don't forget about the little people now, especially here on Guam. I thought we were friends, I thought we were buddies. I'm just kidding, Sloan. But anyway, with the decade wrapping up quite quickly, I might add, Sloan asked me to make a video talking about anime that came out in 2012, aka the year of the apocalypse. Can't do the evil laugh like I used to, guys. I'm getting old. 2012 was quite an eclectic year for anime, and upon looking at the list of the ones that were released, I failed to notice any sort of anime trends that came out that year or a genre that dominated anime. Everything seemed pretty even among all the genres. There were some really good anime that came out in 2012, original series or sequels, some of which I would even consider either my personal favorites or some of my all-time favorites, as well as some not so good anime. Some notable standouts of the year include The Daily Lives of High School Boys, which is not only a personal favorite, but was also made by the same team and director as not only Gintama, but School Rumble, my personal favorite anime of all time. Another, a great horror anime, Anunatsu de Mataru, Sankareya, Excel World, Kuroko no Basket, Mysterious Girlfriend X, Dust Maiden of Amnesia, a personal favorite again, Yormagon Seasons 1 and 2, Kids on the Slope, Hyoka, Kokoro Connect, Shinsekai Yori, Boom! K, the anime series, Say I Love You, Magi, Sakura So no Pet Nakanajo, Girls und Panzer, Love Chunibyo and Other Delusions, The Great Psychopaths, and the anime that everyone loves to either hate or love, Sword Art Online. That's right, 2012 introduced us to the world of Sword Art Online and to the beater himself, Kirito. As for some notable sequels that came out, we have the sequel to one of my all-time favorite romance anime, Amagami SS, with Amagami SS Plus. We also have the sequel to Bakemonogatari, Nisei Monogatari. We have the sequel to Is This a Zombie? Is This a Zombie of the Dead? Which in my opinion is way better than the original, that's just me. We have the sequel to Fate Zero, it's the second season of it. And finally, the last season of the Familiar of Zero called Familiar of Zero F. But with all the good anime that came out in 2012, we do have a few duds and stinkers. The most notable one of them all, in fact the most controversial one, especially in my sake because a lot of people love it, but I really hate it. In fact, Sloan, you're gonna be really mad that I said that it's one of the worst anime of 2012, but it's High School DxD. That's right, the franchise that never stops was first released in 2012. And god damn it, I wish it wasn't so. We also had the incredibly lackluster anime adaptation to a really good OVA series, Black Rock Shooter, Good Luck Girl, a poor attempt at doing parody, and of course, Nakaimo, My Sister is Among Them, an incest anime. And if you've ever been to my channel, you know how I feel about those. And those, ladies and gentlemen, were the anime of 2012. Be sure to let us know what anime stood out to you in 2012, whether it be good or bad, in the comment section below. And that'll do it for me today here on Sloan the Female Otaku's channel. I'm Tony Y II, otherwise known as the Black Critic Guy. I'll see you around. Peace, YouTube. Oh, and by the way, Sloan, love you, babe.
Hey everyone, it's me, the Otaku Fango here, and I want to talk about the 2013 anime season, as basically, it's been a decade of anime, and well, here's the thing about the 2013 anime season is that year was the year I actually started watching seasonal anime, back when I was in high school. I'm 22 now, and it's like, wow, I'm going back and thinking back on the anime that aired that season, and I'm like, wow, There was a lot of good shows that aired that season. But you know what I noticed? A big thing about 2013 was that year had a lot of shows that had a lot of hot guys in it. Like, I went through the list and I was like, why was this year the year of the hot boys animes? I mean, we had Amnesia, we had Brothers Conflict, we had Free, we had Diabolic Lovers, we had a bunch of other shows that had a bunch of hot dudes. And Utano Prince Sama Season 2 aired, and thinking back on it, I'm like, wow, that was the season of hot guys. I don't think we've ever had another like season of anime, or a whole year of anime, I should say, that had so many animes with very attractive men in them. But a lot of other shows in that season were a lot of shows that are still currently ongoing today. Like, for instance, Attack on Titan, or Date Alive. Date Alive is actually making a comeback, which is very surprising. And we had other Bishonen shows now that I think about it, like Meganeibu. I remember that show, and it was so weird. And I kind of wish we had a season 2 of it sometimes. I'm like, does anyone remember Meganeibu? Anybody? Did anybody even watch that show besides me? And there was other standout shows, of course, besides, hot guy anime, but that was a majority of the shows that year, besides, some of the bigger hits like Attack on Titan. We had Mao-sama, which we're still waiting a season 2 for. Come on, where's my Mao-sama season 2? Like Gargantia on the Venderos Planet, or whatever the title of that show was called. I remember watching that, and I was like, man, this show is actually really good. Now, granted, if I went back and watched that show today, it might not be as good. But I feel like one underrated show of that entire year was Dog and Scissors. Has any of you heard of Dog and Scissors? Because honestly, Dog and Scissors, what a show that was.
あいつらは俺の子供のようなもんなんだぞ。
やだ、いきなり子供だなんて、そんな初めての相手が犬っていうのはどうなのかしら。
And I don't even know if that show's ever gonna come back because I don't think anybody watched it besides me. And also that year had one of my favorite harem animes ever. Yes, people say, High School DxD is the best harem anime ever, or whatever X harem anime is the best harem anime ever, but to me, my favorite harem anime of all time aired that year, and that's Strike the Blood.
ヒメラギはいい匂いがするな。髪もサラサラして気持ちいいし。
And there's a big reason why it's my favorite. It's because of the ending. And honestly, that year also had one of my favorite vampire animes ever. And it was a comedy too. If any of you seen Blood Lad, you know what I'm talking about. Blood Lad was fantastic. Now granted, it had its moments of being but overall that show was really, really good, and I wish they would bring it back for season 2 or anything, but as far as I know, the manga is in a weird state. I don't really know much.
欲しかった DVD ボックス、限定フィギュア、漫画、ゲーム、その全てがこの向こうで俺のものになるのを待ってんだよ!
I just know I want more Blood Lad in my future, because when I watched that in 2013, I thought that was just a fantastic show. And I just remember that year of anime being very special to me because, I was in my, I want to say, second year of high school, and me and my friend Jordan, we would always sit down after school and watch a bunch of these shows when the new episode came out. For instance, we did that with Diabolic Lovers right after school because, our parents would be late picking us up, whatever, and those episodes are like 15 minutes or so. So we'd sit there with headphones in and be like, we hope nobody sees what we're watching because things happen in the show that's like, ha!
祈ったって無駄だよ。
And also another show that aired that season was Nagino Asakara. Now I feel like out of this list that I mentioned, it's one of the shows that also a lot of people watch, but maybe some newer anime fans have never heard of Nagino Asakara, so I say to you, go watch Nagino Asakara. At least give it a try. And that year is just super special to me and some of my friends and some memories I have with my friends and all of that stuff. And I just implore you to go back and look at what aired that season, like some of the stuff I mentioned, and go watch it. Give it a try. You might like it.
So 2014 was the first year that I started uploading what I considered to be decent videos to YouTube back when the channel was just run by me. and it was the year that I first started talking to people who would continue to be huge inspirations for me as a creator, including Abe, my best friend to this day, as well as my invaluable partner after the channel rebranded years later. To me, 2014 will forever be seen as a turning point, both for the world of anime and the anime community that I'm a part of. Obviously, it's going to be impossible for me to go over everything, but at the very least, I have to talk about the show that I think best defined that spark of change. Space Dandy was the latest passion project from renowned director Shinichiro Watanabe, who, alongside Shingo Natsumi and Studio Bones, used its wacky premise to showcase some of the best talent in the anime industry, many of whom would later go on to create works of their own that arguably ended up defining the rest of this decade. And not only was the show itself remarkable, but the way it was presented ended up demonstrating something that, as a dub fan, I never thought I'd get to see, as the series marked one of the first times that an anime, fully produced in Japan, ended up airing on Western television in English before Japan. This would later end up being used as the blueprint for what we now consider to be the simuldub format, which would begin its seasonal implementation at the end of the year with Psycho Pass Season 2 and Laughing Under the Clouds. But those weren't the only new things that got started in 2014. Studio Mappa might not be nearly as talked about now, but in 2014 they hit the ground running with Terror in Resonance, another Watanabe work, and Rage of Bahamut, while newly formed Studio Trigger arguably hit a grand slam with its tremendously hyped Kill la Kill, a series that is still talked about to this day whether you love or hate it. Kyoto Animation brought back its much beloved Chunibyo franchise with a second season while also animating Amagi Brilliant Park, a comedic spiritual successor to one of its earliest IPs. In fact, the year was very noteworthy for slice of life comedies, particularly ones that were based on 4-koma manga. Studio Shaft showed us that they could apply their signature directing style to a shonen harem comedy while still pumping out more Monogatari, the very franchise that helped popularize that style. Studio Ufotable finally gave us another Fate series with Unlimited Blade Works, and Production IG would continue experimenting with more varied properties like the shoujo anime Blue Spring Ride, while fueling the new renaissance of sports anime with Haikyuu. Of course, with every start, there are also things that are eventually going to come to an end, and 2014 was filled with moments that reminded us of just that.
Because I love you. I always will.
Not only did long-running shows like Hunter x Hunter and Space Brothers finally finish their anime runs, but the very series that was responsible for welcoming so many of us into the world of anime finally reached the end of its manga serialization. On November 6, 2014, the last chapter of Naruto was published, and a month later, the last Naruto the movie aired in Japanese theaters. I know that might not technically count as an anime highlight, especially since the anime adaptation would continue to go on for a few more years. However, I'd be remiss to not include something that shook a lot of us to our very core. It might not have been perfect or needed to go on for as long as it did, but if there were a handful of franchises in 2014 that we'll never be able to forget, then Naruto should certainly be one of them.
What's up everyone, it's your boy Scott here, and today I'll be talking about anime in 2015. 2015 was a very big year for anime. I mean, some of the most loved, hated, and talked about anime came out this year. As a matter of fact, I can name one right off the bat that everybody pretty much loved, and that was Ufotable's Unlimited Budget Works. I mean, Unlimited Blade Works. Once that anime hit in 2015, it turned everybody into a Fate fan. We were captivated by Yona of the Dawn. We bid farewell to Kuroko no Basket as well as Parasite, and we still anxiously await the return of Noragami. Springboarding off the success of 2014, anime was on the verge of having the biggest year yet. As streaming services became more and more prominent, it also made it a lot easier to see the long-awaited return of a lot of series that we were waiting on. We saw the return of High School DxD, as well as Lupin III, and the grand return of Durarara after 5 years. Even Dragon Ball came back with Super. And we were also introduced to greats such as 7 Deadly Sins, Death Parade, Assassination Classroom, Food Wars, and Danmachi. But all wasn't well in 2015 though, because we also got Tokyo Ghoul Rude, which is probably the only anime on this list that I wish I can take back. 2015 also gave us the debut of two of the most polarizing anime to date in Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans, as well as Akame Got Killed, because boy did those two follow through on those last words. And to top the year off, we also got the definitive gateway anime for the new age, and that was One Punch Man. 2015 was the year that anime really came knocking, but it wouldn't be too long before that door was knocked down.
Hey, what's up there, lovely people of the internet? My name is Evan, and I'm here to talk to you about anime in 2016. Now, 2016 was a very fantastic year for anime because that's when Stella got her groove back. By Stella, I mean the anime industry, if that wasn't obvious already. And to be honest, it's really difficult to remember this year, especially since it happened so long ago, especially for someone like me who's a lot older. You're actually not that old. What? No, I mean, I am old. What do you mean? Now, aside from the mega hits like A Silent Voice and Your Name airing in that year, yes, I get it, Shinkai had a wonderful time and he changed the industry in that year, but that year also had gems like My Hero Academia coming out. And obviously, no one could have imagined back then that My Hero Academia would become the juggernaut that it is today. And I don't want to make this a shonen-centric part of the video, but I mean, there were also great gems like Mob Psycho 100, Food Wars, The Second Plate, Magi, Adventure of Sinbad, and to not focus too much on just shonen, they had great isekai like ReZero. That's when everyone fell in love with Rem. Who can forget Rem? I mean, she was literally what the freaking, how did this get here? This isn't even Rem, this is Ram. But look, anime aside, it was a very impactful year for anime. Because this is what this video is about. Because the Crunchyroll Anime Awards were thought into existence. And now I know that a lot of people have their naysay about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, but this was the year that people learned that they could make a difference. This was the year that we learned that there are great anime, and then there's Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice honestly brought this community together in ways that I have personally before then never seen before. I mean, like, everyone, and I mean everyone was against this show winning basically everything at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, and I know that technically didn't happen until the following year, but I mean, Yuri on Ice, which happened in 2016, this show what came into existence and made people somehow think that it was worth winning everything. It baffles my mind that that's what happened back in 2016. Like, we had all this great stuff happen, and Yuri on Ice happened, and everyone suddenly thought, oh wow, ooh, Yuri on Ice is like the greatest thing ever. It's kind of like what's happening now with like Demon Slayer, I guess. We just don't learn as a community, do we? But honestly, 2016 was a fantastic year for anime, and in my personal opinion, it was probably the best year for anime in a long time, actually, except for 2018 maybe, but I'm not gonna spoil that part of the video for you. I'm gonna let whoever's in charge of that part take over it. I'm Evan, also known as Evanito. Thank you for having me on your channel, Sloan, and I'll see you guys next time. Ow, my freaking eye. Jeez, what is in my eye?
Sloan has asked me to talk about anime in 2017. And when I started off making this, originally I thought about creating a fast-paced recap of what the year had to offer, mentioning every anime under the sun. But I realised I was doing this year an injustice by going through each show so fast, and no one really remembers the anime sitting at a 5. In making this video, I remembered why I asked to tackle 2017. It was the year of my first foray into anime YouTube, into this community, and into meeting the friend that's asked me to do this. 2017 is a special year for me. It turned my love of anime into something deeper than that. But it was also full of important moments that changed the landscape of anime in the West. I present you with 2 words. Netflix jail. This was our first real experience of what it was like to go from having your anime populate a specific streaming service 1 hour after Japan, to having them locked behind a giant red N for months at a time. Wanting to give your anime a dub is a noble cause, but if Funimation can do it a week later, sometimes even same day, why was Netflix so hell-bent on keeping its shows trapped? They picked up some of the best, like Little Witch Academia and Kakagurui, ruining any chance of seasonal hype that they may have had. Yet this was just the beginning. Whether we liked it or not, anime was going mainstream, and the big boys were starting to pay attention. We had Sentai Filmworks creating a competitor to Crunchyroll, and Amazon gobbled up some incredible shows behind a secondary paywall that deserved to be struck down. Before that could happen, there were two particular anime that were so impactful that it didn't matter if you couldn't access them. You would find a way, because people just wouldn't stop talking about them. Made in Abyss and Land of the Lustrous defied all expectations and reservations placed upon them. The first appeared to be nothing more than a chibi lolly fantasy adventure, not set in another world mind you, but still a show worth writing off, when in actuality it was darker than it appeared. I truly lost my soul and my heart at the bottom of the abyss. Its OST became something I still listen to when I wake, and Ozen's voice, I'm pretty sure, is the soundtrack to my nightmares. But for all the beauty in Made in Abyss with its 2D backgrounds and stunning visuals, Land of the Lustrous came crashing in to defy it. On a weekly basis, it took my breath away with a command of 3D space like no other, a showcase of how good 3D CG animation could be, but also the importance of cinematography attached to a great story. A true diamond in the rough. Of course, they weren't the only shows that made an impression. We had KyoAni with Dragon Maid, Studio Dean knocking out the park with Rakugo and Konosuba's second seasons. My Hero Academia gave us not only a stupendous tournament arc, but a villain that could make your skin crawl. This was the year that Naruto ended and Boruto began. It was when Attack on Titan came back screaming Sasageo, and Black Clover just came in screaming. Our girls returned to make video games, and we had new ones to challenge the establishment. But for all the good in the world, there was another side. I can still see the colours that Gohans threw at me with handshakers. And to this day, I repeat the immortal words of Gigok whenever I watch an anime that is not of the greatest quality. Words that were born out of a show that no one wants to admit they watched. Because anime is trash, and so am I. But anime can also bring us together. For those shows born in 2017, Crunchyroll held their first live awards show. Now it may have been divisive, but when has anime ever not? YouTube broke into the anime world, with Rena Scully getting a voice acting gig in Urahara, and the anime world broke into YouTube, with the rise of the virtual YouTuber. In our reality though, we cheered on a penguin in love with an anime girl, and we mourn for him too. Distributors started to bring us movies quicker than we have ever seen them before, and while it's probably cheating considering they didn't release officially in 2017, they did in America, so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Your Name and Silent Voice effect. I'd like to give both of them the big Toblerone. Neo Yokio came out in 2017, I had it right, there's a reason it was there, okay, anyway. 2017 turned my love of anime into something deeper than that. Yet hindsight is a funny thing, because everything we set up here, Netflix jail, the awards and all the rest, we're only going to come back, harder and stronger, for better and for worse, as 2018 rolled around.
Die! 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 大好きだ
そんなに大きな声で言われなくても聞こえてる。
As soon as the winter 2019 season began, I knew that entire year could not end the decade properly. For me, 2018 was the true end to the anime of the 2000 teens. Not only were multiple series masterpieces and game changers, but they were memorable. In a time where we have 60 to 75 series airing each season, It's hard to remember what you've watched, even if you're watching 6 anime or less. Now, not all of the following series I'll mention are still on people's minds or currently flooding their feed, but I'm willing to bet that at least 3 series have stuck with you, whether you thought they were 10 out of 10 or not. Devilman Crybaby started 2018 off strong. A modern take on the underground classic 1980s manga completely turned heads. It was raunchy, but had a statement. And it was hella gay before Promare came out. The beautiful fantasy romance anime The Ancient Max's Bride was coming to an end. But Violet Evergarden showed us that the 2-year wait was worth it by showcasing breathtaking animation and an incredible screenplay that may or may not have made you bulge your eyes out. No matter how you feel about Darling in the Franxx, you cannot deny that it remained the most discussed anime for a solid 24 weeks. Pop Team Epic was one crackhead of an anime, but man was it funny. Hakata Tonkotsu Ramens was my personal Bungo Stray Dogs and Durara fix. After the Rain is a more underrated series, but it gave us a mature anime that properly utilizes show don't tell, and made you realize that no matter how old you are, you can still achieve your dreams. A Place Further Than the Universe captivated viewers by showing us 4 girls who develop something more than a friendship, taking charge of their lives, and truly living. The 2018 spring season blew us away with several amazing anime that you just couldn't drop. Golden Kamui was our savior as we waited for a JoJo's Part 5 announcement, which we'll get into later. Sword Art Online Gun Gale Alternative totally wowed audiences and showed us that you can make a damn good version of SAO if you just remove Kirito and give us a character we want to root for. Wodokoi was one for the anime fans in their mid to late 20s with an office otaku romance. Agretsuko also took it to the office and gave us a mascot for adults. Who would have thought we could relate to a Sanrio character? Comic Girls was more than just a slice of life moe anime by showing the hardships of becoming a mangaka. Steins Gate returned with Steins Gate Zero, an alternate timeline that was more depressing, but might not have been as good as the original depending on who you ask. High School DxD also made a comeback, and so did Yamushi Pedal, Wicross, and My Hero Academia with its 3rd season. The summer season may have been the weakest, but it showed us another modern masterpiece in Banana Fish. Cells at Work reminded us that Osmosis Jones was a thing, but gave some incredibly cute platelets. Wait, what? Angels of Death aired in the summer for whatever reason, but so did Haruka no Receive. And finally, the fall season. Man, did we get some great series. But before those anime came out, Funimation announced that they were no longer partnering with Crunchyroll. Ugh, man, did that suck. That partnership was the best thing ever, because we had just about every anime series on either Crunchyroll or Funimation, depending on if you like subs or dubs. Oh well. At least High Dive was out of beta and Anime Strike died. Anyway, Goblin Slayer freaked people the fuck out. To many, you either saw the exquisite genius, or you were a pussy, plain and simple. God, people can be such jerks. But thankfully, JoJo's was back, and it was only the beginning, because Golden Kamui's second core and Karakuri Circus were also airing, making it quite the bizarre season. If you weren't into crazy, then maybe you watched Run with the Wind, a slower kind of sports anime, but a good one nonetheless. Bloom Into You was the Yuri anime we deserved, and Bunny Girl Senpai? Bunny Girl Senpai was the perfect anime to end 2018.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing? I'm Anime Intensity. 2019 was definitely a very interesting year. We had many ups and we had many downs, and then we had this blessing, which was, you know what, maybe 2019 wasn't so bad after all. But you know what? 2019 was the year of anime movies in North American theaters. I don't think I've ever seen as many anime movies in theaters as I did this year. If I was lucky, you know, previous years ago, I would see like 1, 2, if I was really lucky, 3. But this year, oh my, we got so many anime movies in theaters thanks to companies like Funimation, Crunchyroll, G-Kids, Fathom Events. We got so many anime movies distributed into US theaters, and that just makes me so happy. We started off the year very strong with Dragon Ball Super Broly, which made over $30 billion in the US alone. So it goes to show you, anime has a big fan base. So we want our anime movies. While other movies didn't get such a wide release as the Dragon Ball Super movie, that doesn't mean that they weren't successful. Look at the Konosuba movie. Konosuba was released for like 2 days during the week. It made over $1.13 million. And also, same thing with Bunny Senpai. Bunny Senpai was released for 2 days as well, or maybe a little bit more than that. Also made over $1 million. Saga of Tanya the Evil, also close. These movies were great, and it goes to show you that there's definitely a fan base that wants to go see these movies in theaters. And while some movies didn't make $100,000, I would have to say most of the anime movies released in 2019 made at least 100,000 or above, and that is an amazing feature to see. I mean, like, I want to eat your pancreas. Like, whoever thought that anyone was going to go see that? One Piece Stampede, once again, you know, the One Piece fans, they're very strong. You know, they love their One Piece. So, other successful anime movies that were released this year includes the recently released Promare, which made over $2 million, and let me tell you, that fan base is going very, very strong around the world. Code Geass, Lelouch of the Resurrection, which made $500,000 despite the original series being released who knows how many years ago. Millennium Actress had its re-release in 2019. It was originally debuted in 2003 and only made like $37,000, but now in 2019 it made over $200,000, which is pretty awesome. What else did we have? We had like Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feel Part 2, Lost Butterfly, made almost $500,000. Like, come on! Like, these movies are things that we want to see as anime fans, and you know what? 2019 definitely delivered. So you know what? I kind of like this year because we definitely had a chance to see more anime on big screens than usual. But anyway, I think that was definitely my highlight of 2019. Just seeing all these anime movies released in theaters. That's definitely something that makes me happy, and I know it makes a lot of fans happy. And I hope 2020 brings us more anime movies in theaters. So we'll have to keep our eyes out for more anime movies, but you know what? That was a trend that I actually really enjoyed in 2019, and I hope you guys did too.
Before I end this video, I just want to talk about KyoAni. Over the summer, someone actually set fire to KyoAni's main studio and actually caused the studio to lose years and years of progress of their works. And not only that, but many of their employees' lives were also lost. This was definitely a big deal, and I was very proud to see the anime community as a whole just standing up and supporting KyoAni, making donations and making paper cranes, sending them over to the studio, just showing so much support for KyoAni. It just goes to show you that KyoAni is loved by so many anime fans, and just seeing the support from the community as a whole made me very proud as an anime fan. So KyoAni will rise above this, and KyoAni, I'm sure, has plenty of things that they want to do. So we'll have to see what their future holds, but I think it will be bright.
Thank you all so much for watching this incredible project. I've always wanted to do something like this, collaborating with so many awesome YouTubers in our own style. Please subscribe to everyone who participated in this video. Links to their channels will be in the description. I also want to give a very special shout out to Giovanni Herrera and Fiery Arton for donating to my Patreon. If you'd like a very special shout out in the next video, stream, or what have you, then please click on the Patreon link in the description to donate. Okay, now that this video is finally over, I can look forward to the new decade. Which started a month ago, but you know what? You do what you can. I'm your female otaku. Sayonara.